Creating a start menu. That's what we've been doing for the past 2 parts. Hello everyone, I'm Batpan, the bat who uses pan as his helmet. This video is actually part 2 of the start menu creation. This video will cover making all the things we created in the start menu interactable. You can actually interact with the buttons we created in the last part. There are actually a series of videos that I've been making in which I told you guys or gals some functions that could be actually useful when you're making a game. I recently published my own game. It's a retro VHS psychological horror game. If you want to check that out, there's a link in the description to it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, a like and subscribe would be amazing. Without wasting time, let's begin. The only thing I added before this video until the last video we created is actually this, the language selector, the function that we created when we clicked on each one of these. The canvas we created in the previous video, in the part 0.5 we created, I gave that canvas to the language selector and gave it all the text in the scene instead of only these 3, start, settings and quit. I gave it all, and let me just show you the code. It's actually the same thing, only I just added some more options. We only had these 3. I changed the continue, new game, back and all these, added them for the Portuguese as well. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make every button of the start menu interactable. We made the select your language interactable, but I'm gonna do it with all the menus. What we need now is a new script to control all the things we create in the start menu. So I'm actually gonna create an empty object. I'm gonna click on this plus, or I'd right click here, create an empty object. I'm gonna name it scene code controller. You can name it whatever you want. I named it this. I go to the start menu and YouTube, create a new C# script. I'm gonna call it start menu YouTube code. Double click to open it up. It's actually this. We need to add this using Unity Engine UI. To actually use a UI, we need one more thing for the scene manager to loading the next scene. We need a using Unity Engine, that's scene management for loading the next scene. Okay, that's it. We're gonna kind of do the same thing as the part 1. When we go onto the start menu, it's gonna play a clicking sound and it's gonna make it interactable. So to actually do that, we need a reference to all the 6 things that we can interact with alongside the settings menu and all the others. I'm just gonna add a comment. I'm just gonna say actual menu. We're gonna divide it into more parts, actual menu and the settings menu. For the actual menu, we need a public text. I'm gonna say start game text. We need another one, settings text. You can duplicate it by Control D, quit text. We need 3 more, public text, continue text. I'm gonna say context. We need another public text, new game text. We need another one text for back text. The reason I made them public is because I want to give them from outside the code. So I'm gonna show you what each one of them are. This is the actual menu. As you can see, start game, these 3 and these 3. The thing you have to remember when you anchor the game objects to the left side, you need to be sure to give the anchor of the game object that is the child of this one. For example, these are child of the actual menu. When you give all of them the anchor of left, be sure to give the actual menu also the anchor of left, the parent of them, the empty object we created. As I was testing, I found that out. I give the actual menu of center. When I move this, as you can see, the menu moves with it. So I'm just gonna give it the left side. Then we need a game object of each one of these as well. So I'm just gonna say public game object, start game, underline game object. We can create an array of it. For example, house number 0, 1, 2 are these 3. House number 3, 4, 5 are these 3. We can do that. Let's actually do that. It's actually much cleaner. So I'm just gonna say public, an array of game object. I'm gonna call it actual menu buttons, underline game object. The other thing we need, I'm just gonna say all. So it is a shared content, was the audio that when we hovered over one of the buttons would create a clicking sound. To actually create this, I told you guys this in the part 1, but I'm gonna again say it. I'm just gonna create a public audio source. Again, I'm gonna call it a source, and we need a public audio clip. I'm gonna make an array. I'm gonna call it click clips, like the previous video. So we created the one for the actual menu. We're just gonna create a one for the settings menu. I'm gonna duplicate it. If you can remember, we created a lot of raw images in the previous video. For the settings pack, these are all raw images. As I said in the previous video, there are actually 7 of them that we can interact with. So we need to create 7 raw images, public, or we can put them inside an array. So I'm gonna put them inside an array. I'm just gonna say public raw image, an array of raw images. I'm just gonna call it MS mouse sensitivity images That's it. I actually told you guys what an array is, but I'm again gonna say it. An array lets you put multiple type of the same game objects inside one actual game object. For example, I can put multiple game objects inside this one array. It's the simple explanation for it. We're just gonna do kind of the same thing as the change language video. When we hover over something, it's gonna change its color. So what we're gonna do is we need a function for hovers. For anything we can hover over. I'm gonna add inside a comment. We have 6 buttons that we can hover over in the actual menu. Go back and save inside the settings menu. I'm just gonna add another for the actual menu so you guys don't confuse it. So we're just gonna say public void, as I said in the previous video, start game color in. For when we hover in, game object start game color out. It's just a lot of repeating the same thing again and again. Not public game object, sorry, public void start game color out. We created for start game. We go for the settings, public void settings color in. We need one for public void settings color out. We need for the quit button, public void quit color out. So these are the 3 things, but we need 3 more for the second menu. So I'm just gonna say first menu of the actual menu, which are the 3 things shown when we click on the change language, and we need another 3 for the second menu. I'm just gonna name it for you guys. I know that it can be confusing when we go forward, but I'm gonna do it part by part. We need one for continue, public void color in. You can name it whatever you want. You don't have to write the same name as me. Public void. We'll do for the new game. Public void new game color. Public void new game color out. That's it. Public void. So right down here, we're just gonna say settings. For the settings, we just have, I think, go back and save. So we're just gonna create one. I'm just gonna say public void go back and save color in. Public void go back and save color out. So for the start menu, we just change the color of the start game text. The color, I don't know, I'm just gonna give it the color of green, and a source that play one shot quick clips house number 0. To reset it, I can just copy it and paste it here. Instead of green, I'm just gonna say white. I'm gonna do the same thing for all the others. For the settings, I can say settings text dot color, for example, color dot blue. A source again dot click clips house number 1 this time. And when we hover out of it, we're just gonna say settings text dot color equal to color dot white. You want to reset the color. So I'm gonna do all of this, and I'm gonna fast forward so you guys don't have to watch all of this. Okay, one more thing we need to add for the settings. Instead of the raw images, there was actually text for the go back. So we're just gonna add public text go back and save text that we can interact with. So that's it. And the thing we need for the settings menu, so we can activate or deactivate it. I'm just gonna say public game object settings pack. And for the actual menu, we can add a public actual menu pack. You can name it whatever you want. I'm gonna name it actual menu pack. So that's it for the function. We just created all of this. You need to go to the menu and give it to them one by one, or you can click all of them and do it at the same time. For all the buttons, for example, I need these 6. I'm gonna add an event trigger to each one of them, and I'm gonna give all of them. Add for pointer exit. We're gonna do it for all of them. Settings. And inside the settings pack, there was actually a button called go back and save. You need to give it the event trigger. Again, give it the pointer, enter and exit. And for the on-click event, you can give them all an on-click event, but we didn't create it right now. We're just gonna give it to them. Select all the buttons, give them this. So for the start game, add one event for all of them. The thing we created this on was the scene code controller. So I'm gonna drag and drop it here. Again, I'm gonna do it for all of them. select the sync code controller and give it the code we created, start menu code control, drag and drop it there. We don't want to give them value just now, but we're gonna go to the buttons. We're gonna click on this no function, go to the code. This is called start game color in. So we choose start game color in and start game color out from when we exit it. Start game color out. You're gonna do the same thing for when pointer enter, we say start game color in, and when the pointer exit, we're just gonna say start game color out. I'm gonna do it for all the things. Again, be sure to do it for the go back and save color in, go back and save color out. So we're gonna give him a reference here. For the audio source, I'm gonna add an audio source here. You can click on this add component and add an audio source. So this is the audio source. I can drag and drop it here. For the click clips, it needs 3 audios. I can give it UI 3, for example, or UI 2, and actually UI 1. These are the 3 audios I have. You can give it any audio you want. So I'm gonna give it one by one. Start game text, settings text, quit game text. So we can give it one by one. For the actual menu pack, we can give it the empty object of the actual menu. For the settings pack, we can give it the settings pack game object. The next thing we need is the MS images. We have 7 of them. So I'm just gonna say 7. It opens 7 spaces for them, but instead of giving it all at once, change it to 0. Click on this lock icon so it doesn't change anything when you click on anything else. Select all of them. Select the first one, hold shift, select the last one. And if you want to give all of them from the beginning, you just drag it from the MS1 and drop it here. As you guys see, it automatically gave all the values, and it is actually a lot faster. What else do we need? We need a go back and save text. It is actually this. We give it. And we need the actual menu buttons. We have 6, as I said before. So I'm just gonna say 6. Or you can kind of do the same thing. Make it 0. Lock it. Select all of them and drag and drop it here. As you can see, it is automatically given. So now let's go and check it out. You see, for example, I choose push. As you can see, the color changes. But we can't do anything because we didn't create the click function. As you guys see, the color changes. So now let's go and create the click functions under the hovers. So I'm just gonna say click. I'm just gonna name them click functions. Add a comment for it so you guys don't mistake it with anything else. In here, we kind of do the same thing as before, but this time we're gonna create it for the click function. For the actual menu, we create a first menu. So we have a public void start game click. You can name it anything you want. Public void settings click. Public void quit click. So these were for the first menu. We can create one for the second menu as well. We're just gonna say public void continue click, can't click. Again, I'm just gonna say public void new game click. And then one more thing is public void back click. These are for the actual menu. For the settings menu, we have only the go back and save. So we're just gonna say settings. And then here we're just gonna say public void go back and save click. That's actually it. And now let's go and give it the values. What is going to change when we click on them? We'll create the following minutes. But first, let's give them all the click function as we created the on-click event for any of them. If you've watched the previous video, you can clearly understand this, but I'm going to explain it again for the guys who didn't watch the previous video. I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to click on this lock. I'm going to give this one to this, which is going to apply for all of them. Okay, as you see, all of them has this game object, but you have to go again, select your code and give them manually. Now we're gonna look for the start game click. As you can see, it is here, start game click. I'm gonna do it again for everyone, no function, the code name, settings click. I'm gonna do it for all the buttons. When we click on the start game button, it's gonna actually run this one. When we click on the settings, it's gonna actually run this one. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a function for each one of them. And let me show you guys with the example. When we click on this quit game, we actually want to be able to quit the game. So that's that. When we click on the settings menu, we actually want to go to the settings menu. For the start game, when we click on the start game, it's gonna actually go to the second menu of the actual menu. These three is gonna show up when we click on the start game. And when we click on this continue, it's gonna load our game. If we have a save file, which I'm not gonna create in this part because it's actually long enough, I'm gonna create it in another part. When we say go back, it's gonna actually go back to the first menu of the actual menu. So by default, these three are activated. So for the start game click, when we actually click on the start game, we're just gonna say actual menu buttons, that game object, the array we created. As I said before, I don't want to, give it like 6 different game objects. I'm going to give it only one array of game object, and I'm going to call them with their house number. For example, 0, 1, 2 are these 3, 3, 4, 5 are these 3. So I'm just going to say house number 0 dot set active equal to false. The house number 0 is actually the start game button. So I'm just going to duplicate it 3 times for the first menu, and I'm going to duplicate it another 3 times for the things we want to activate. So 3, 4, 5 needs to be activated, 0, 1, 2 needs to be deactivated. When I click English, when I press on the start, as you guys see, those 3 deactivated, 0, 1, 2 deactivated, 3, 4, 5 activated. So that was it. We created the function for the start game click. For the settings, we want to actually activate the settings pack and deactivate the actual pack. To do that, we're just going to say settings pack dot set active true, and the actual menu pack dot set active false. It's actually that easy. For the quit, the only thing we're just going to say is application dot quit. As you guys see, it's just going to quit the game. But in the editor, it's not going to do anything. So we want to know if we click this, we're just going to say debug.log quit game. You guys don't have to put this in your code. I'm just gonna put it inside the code to actually show you guys that it actually works. So for the continue click, I'm just gonna load game. We don't have a function for that yet, so we're not gonna create it here. For the new game, load next scene. For the back click, we kind of want to do the same thing with this. Instead of activating these 3, we're gonna activate them and deactivate these 3. So we can just copy that and paste it here. Instead of 3 true, we're just gonna say 3 false. For the true, we're just gonna do this. Activate this and deactivate this. So let's go and check it out. I'm gonna click on this English. As you guys see, when I say start, back, as you can see, start, back, as you can see. To actually fix this bug, when we click on this, and this one actually is activated. To fix this, when we click on the start, I'm on the back text.color to reset, to actually fix that bug. So when we press on the start game click, we just want to reset the back text color to fix the bug, and for when we click on the back, we're just going to say start game text dot color equal to white to reset it. Okay, English, as you can see, go back and save is kind of the same thing as the settings menu, but instead of activating the settings, we just activate the actual menu. So just make this false and make this one true. There is going to be another bug like the start and go back button. So I'm just going to say settings text.color equal to white. We reset it here, and for the settings, we're just going to reset the go back and save text.color equal to color.white. So when we activate it, we go here, we come back, we go here, we come back. We didn't create a function for the sensitivity or the resolution. Click on this exit game. As you can see, this quit game appears. As you can see, the number changes. It means we click on it. If you're actually inside a game, when you click on this, it's gonna actually come out of the game. As you can see, these are the colors for the settings. So this video has been long enough. In the next video, we're gonna create the continue function, new game function. The sensitivity, all in all, saving and loading function will be said in the next video. So this was how we can actually interact with the start menu we created before. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I tried to explain it as simple as I could. I know it could be frustrating for you guys to do the same thing again and again for different buttons. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be amazing, and you can subscribe to see more contents like this and the continue of the function. I'm gonna go do something for the end of the video, as I did in all my videos. So this is what I created for the end of the video. I hope you guys or gals like it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.